This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Wendy Griffith. We begin this half hour in the Middle East. After 2 missile strikes this morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing the full price from the dictators in Tehran. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Netanyahu's vow comes after Iranian missiles hit a hospital in southern Israel and residential buildings in Tel Aviv.
The Soroka Hospital in Beersheba took a direct hit. One of the doctors there stated, "Just yesterday, we evacuated the old surgical building that took a direct hit today. It's a great miracle." As Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz put it, these are the most severe kinds of war crimes, and Khamenei will be held accountable for his crimes. Katz described Israel's new goal, destabilize the Ayatollah regime. Meanwhile, in Washington, President Trump has approved the Iran attack plans, but is holding off on giving the orders, according to the Wall Street Journal. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump says he's not looking for a fight with Iran.
But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. We're not looking for a ceasefire. We're looking for a total, complete victory. Again, you know what the victory is. No nuclear weapon.
In an address to the nation Wednesday night, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked the president for standing by Israel and told Israelis the goals of the war.
We've embarked on this operation to eliminate 2 existing threats to the state of Israel, the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat. We're moving step by step towards eliminating these threats. We control the skies over Tehran. We're striking the Ayatollah's regime with tremendous force. We're striking the nuclear weapons, the missiles, the headquarters, the symbols of the regime.
Despite the attacks, Ayatollah Khamenei remains defiant.
The Iranian nation will stand firmly against the war imposed on it, as it has done so far. It will also stand firmly against imposed peace. The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone aiming to impose anything on it.
Yet the Israel Defense Forces are now expanding their target list.
During the strikes, we struck more than 20 targets around Tehran. These targets belong to the regime's military industries and security apparatus.
That includes the regime's centers of power. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz told the Iranian people it's time to rise up and overthrow Khamenei's regime. He said symbols of power are being bombed and collapsing, from the Broadcasting Authority and soon other targets, as masses of residents flee. This is how dictatorships fall. Iranian-American journalist Lisa Dattari tells CBN's Raj Nair the people of Iran have long endured a brutal dictatorship.
This is not just since October 7th. This is not just since Friday. This is something that has been building up in the Iranian people for 46 years. They're sick and tired of it. To see someone who is hanged because of a Facebook post or because they are a journalist or an athlete or a dancer. This is the life and the reality that they have been living.
Earlier this week, Netanyahu told Israeli Channel 14, history is being made.
We're at a historic turning point, and everyone is slowly turning to realize it. After victory over Iran, a new Middle East will emerge.
Chris Mitchell is with us now from Jerusalem. Chris, great to see you. Tell us why Israeli leaders are so upset about today's missile strikes.
Well, Wendy, what they're saying is that Khamenei is giving instructions to fire into the Israeli home front. That's why the Soroka Hospital was hit today, as well as that neighborhood in Tel Aviv. On the other hand, Israel is targeting military and strategic sites, and they're actually giving evacuation orders to the people of Iran to get away from different buildings that may be attacked. It's something they've done in Gaza, something they've done in Lebanon, and they're doing it in Iran right now. On the other hand, Khamenei is deliberately targeting civilians, and then it's sending out misinformation. In fact, they sent out some information that under the hospital that was hit this morning, that Israel actually had a military infrastructure. So that is the main thing, that Khamenei is expanding its attacks on the Israeli civilians.
Chris, Israel attacked the nuclear reactor at Iraq. Why is this significant?
Well, that is significant, Wendy, because it eliminates another pathway that Iran could use to produce weapons, and it would be weapons-grade plutonium. What Iraq offered was an alternative to highly enriched uranium and building nuclear weapons, and it was called the Iraq Heavy Water Reactor. It was designed to use natural uranium and then produce plutonium as a byproduct, and that's a key material for nuclear weapons. Iran said it was just using it for medical isotopes, but it really can produce that plutonium. It's hard to monitor, hard to reverse, and it can be concealed. So all of that was one reason why Iraq was hit today by Iranian jets. Just one more effort to make sure that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, whether it's through enriched uranium or plutonium for a nuclear bomb.
Chris, at this point, does it look like Israel may try eliminate Ayatollah Khamenei?
It seems to be getting closer and closer to that, Wendy, especially after this morning. It feels that way. That's what Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said. He said just as they knew where Hassan Nasrallah, he was the head of Hezbollah, they also know exactly where Ali Khamenei is. The defense minister called Khamenei a modern Hitler that cannot be allowed to exist. So it seems like preventing his existence, eliminating him, is really part of the operation goals right now. As we said, Khamenei is giving instructions to fire into the Israeli home front. And it can be assumed that based on the level of kind of intelligence they've had, Wendy, in Iran, which is just stunning, they know exactly where he's hiding, just like they knew where Nasrallah is hiding. And it looks like it could be that this is one of the goals of the war, where they try to eliminate Khamenei.
Yeah, and we've seen the Iranian people, many fleeing Tehran. How do some Iranians feel about their own regime, the Islamic regime, Chris?
Well, I think they feel like the Ayatollahs have no feeling of pride for Iran, that Iran simply for them is a way to export the Shiite Islam to the world. This is the Iranian Revolution since 1979. They've been going through this for 46 years. For the mullahs, it's a revolution of convenience. And one Iranian said that they really have decimated my birth country, and they've spent the country's treasure and overseas by funding Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, all the while making people in Iran destitute. And so that's why many people believe this may be the opportunity, Wendy, for them to rise up and overthrow this regime.
It certainly seems like it. Chris Mitchell, our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief in Jerusalem. Chris, thank you so much for your insights, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon, very soon. Thank you. Well, back here at home, a big win for those who oppose transgender procedures on young people. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's ban on the practices. As medical reporter Lori Johnson reports, this could signal a wave of future victories for other states with similar bans.
In a 6-3 decision, conservative justices ruled in favor of Tennessee's ban on healthcare workers providing transgender procedure to minors, such as hormone injections and puberty blockers, in an effort to change a teenager's sex. Those who wanted the Tennessee law struck down argued it violated the constitutional right to equal protection by discriminating against transgendered people in denying them certain medical care. But Chief Justice John Roberts, writing for the majority, said it does not violate the equal protection guarantee of the 14th Amendment. However, in her dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said the ruling authorizes untold harm to transgender children.
The Supreme Court looked at the science.
Alliance Defending Freedom helped Tennessee's defense.
They did point to the studies coming out of England and even some things here in the United States showing the harm that these drugs and surgeries do.
The ruling reinforces similar bans on youth transgender procedures in 26 other states.
This means that the 24 states that have put in these kind of bans are safe now from any kind of challenges. So when it comes to minors, this issue is settled.
The High Court's ruling signals a significant setback to the transgender movement and comes as the Trump administration seeks to ban transgendered people from female sports and the military while defining the sexes as only male and female. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Thanks, Lori. Important victory there. Well, coming up, the executive director of the Middle East Forum offers his analysis on the possibility of the U.S. joining Israel in the fight against Iran. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. As President Trump considers the possibility of joining Israel in the fight against Iran, the executive director of the Middle East Forum warns that the United States must remain vigilant. In this week's episode of The Global Lane, Greg Roman explains that the Ayatollah is currently making decisions alone and may miscalculate the extent and scope of potential Iranian retaliation.
The entire command and control structure of the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is now gone. People who were advising him the day before the war are no longer in their place, and even their replacements are gone. In one direction, he may capitulate and surrender. In the other, he may decide to go all the way. But either way, I think right now he's feeling very lonely at the top. And I think his decisions will be made in such a way that's best for his preservation, not for the preservation of the Islamic Republic.
Yes, it's like calling in a security meeting and nobody shows up. There's no one in the room other than him. So Israel needs U.S. involvement, of course, to take out hard-to-reach underground nuclear enrichment facilities like the Fordo facility in Qum. So what happens if the U.S. does not join Israel and provide those bunker buster bombs?
Well, Israel has in its battle plans ways in which to disrupt Fordo's operations in Qom in such a way that it can prevent access to the facility rather than to destroy the facility. We already saw this took place in Isfahan and in Natanz, where they bombed the entrances to the underground enrichment facilities, and they also bombed the areas that were providing a supply of electricity. So this notion that you have to destroy the facility by bombing it is one which is a misnomer. Insofar as if you're able to cut off the power supply, the centrifuges which are running could be disrupted. And the Israelis have done this before, not using kinetic means. The Stuxnet virus back in 2012 was a way in which to indirectly damage the facility rather than destroying it outright. So it does have other options in case the United States makes the decision to not get kinetically involved.
Iran warns it will respond if the U.S. joins the fight. And Iranian state television reported a surprise is coming that the world will remember for centuries. So what are they talking about, Greg? Do they already have a nuclear bomb? How great is their retaliatory capability to harm America?
I don't trust the Iranian rhetoric and propaganda that's coming out of Tehran right now. In fact, we saw that their main broadcasting building was bombed. A symbol of the revolution's ability to try to broadcast its message is now in smithereens. But beyond that, the Iranians do have three significant retaliatory options that the U.S. should be worried about. The first, as you just mentioned, is the missile threat. The second is the unconventional threat, not just the nuclear bomb, but the potential use of a radiological or dirty bomb that can be on the top of a missile or brought in by other unconventional means. But the biggest threat that the U.S. has to worry about now with its bases overseas and also here at home is Iranian sleeper cells and their ability to wage asymmetrical warfare, the type that killed thousands of American soldiers in Iraq, and the way in which it has also used over the last 46 years to wage terror attacks against Western targets. So the U.S. doesn't just have to be on guard in the region, it also has to be on guard here at home. And that's regardless of whether the U.S. attacks Iran or not. Iran is in a position right now like a feral cat. It's going to lash out, and we don't know how it's going to happen, but we have to be on guard everywhere.
And Greg, the son of the late Shah, Reza Pahlavi, is considered a leading candidate to lead Iran if the regime falls. He says the time is now for an uprising, but so far it's yet to materialize. The streets of the capital, Tehran, are empty. Some Iranians I've talked to say they don't want Pahlavi and a return to the monarchy of 50 years ago. So how are the Iranian people responding to all of this?
Well, the best way for the Iranian, especially the opposition, the Iranian people and its opposition outside of the country to connect with people inside the country is to use non-kinetic means. there are entities that exist within the country, whether it be the Bus Drivers Transportation Committee, the truck drivers that were just leading a strike for the past 2 weeks, or even local neighborhood councils, which are all able to organize on a local level. And it's not necessarily going to be the Crown Prince who has the ability to do this, even though he is a very important part of a future transition to a democratic Iran, or a government of Iran that's different from those ruled by the Ayatollahs right now. But it requires the U.S. to adopt a policy to allow those opposition groups to unify with those inside the country. And when it becomes U.S. policy to do so, I think you'll see the ability to have a controlled implosion of the regime, rather than the chaos that may result if there's not any Western guidance for that process to take place.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Greg Roman, Middle East Forum Executive Director. Thanks, Greg. It's always a good time talking with you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary.
Great interview. Thanks, Gary. And you can watch an all new episode of The Global Lane. That's tonight on the CBN News Channel at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can also see it on the CBN News app or on YouTube. Still ahead, Chef Jernard Wells is taking us on a food adventure with a preview of his series, Savor the City. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Chef Jernard Wells is known for cooking shows such as New Soul Kitchen, but now he's exploring a one-of-a-kind travel experience in the series Savor the City, where he hits the road to experience different cultures and, of course, delicious eats. Take a look.
Hey, it's Chef Jernard here, and I'm about to take you on an incredible journey through the heart and soul of your favorite destinations.
So where did the idea for Savor the City come from?
I'm talking about Black culture, Black excellence, food and music.
Savor the City, it's always been my love letter to the people. And it was an opportunity for me to get out of the kitchen and travel the world, experience amazing food while giving those their flowers that are deserving of them, but also sharing the cultural history and the fabric of how food connects us and how we've contributed so much to this country, and we should be proud of it. And if nobody else is telling you that we love you, I want to be the one to travel around and walk through your doors and let you know we love you.
And you travel to Vegas and Nashville, Savannah. How many different cities are you taking us to? I know we're approaching the finale this week. How many different cities are we going to?
Oh, I think we covered, and this season we covered somewhere between 14 and 15 cities, and this is just the beginning. This just a raindrop in the bucket. Wherever we are, we're going. I'm talking about you know, Napa Valley, New Orleans, New York, Nashville, Charleston, the DMV, Las Vegas, the Bahamas, you name it, Miami. If we're there, I'm going, because there's some history and some great food to be shared with the world.
Hey, it's Chef Jernard here, and we're in Savannah, Georgia, and I'm about to give you the best in culture, food, and history.
One of the things you talk about in the finale and being in Savannah is we talk about Juneteenth. Take me there, if you will. What was that like for you, sharing that piece of history, especially through food?
Oh, life-changing, heartwarming, and I would never be the same.
I'm headed out to meet up with some friends for a Juneteenth celebration. Chef Gina, a local culinary gem, is cooking up a delicious Juneteenth meal. And she has invited her good friend Trelawney, who is known for her love of preserving Savannah's Black culture.
We hear about the history. We're celebrating. We know Juneteenth is a national holiday now. We celebrate it. But do a lot of us actually know what that resilience means, what that pride means?
It was a series of emancipation. So between 1770 to about 1804, you had a lot of the northeastern states that were starting to emancipate first. 1862, you had D.C., then we know Harriet Tubman came down June 1st, June 2nd of 1863 and liberated over 700 people on the Combahee River in Beaufort County, South Carolina. Emancipation Proclamation was signed in January 1st of 1863.
Going back to Savannah, having the opportunity to sit down and talk to family members from the Gullah Geechee community, partaking in the food and understanding the significance of Juneteenth, of not just gaining our freedom, because what we learned was studying Juneteenth, we were already free. Juneteenth was just when the last people in Texas learned about it. So we were already free. So at this point, everybody know, let's celebrate. And you know, we know how to throw down. And one of the biggest things is tying the food in, because the food tells the story of our resilience.
So you had strawberry drinks, you had watermelon. That's why you had the barbecue sauce, all of those types of foods. Red was for the blood that was shed.
And that's what I think is so important about all of us. Whether you're of Black and brown descent, I want you to get out and celebrate this day with us. Because we celebrating, we having fun. And we know what's the best thing with fun? It's the food.
We're gonna have a Juneteenth celebration like no other.
Happy Jubilee!
Cheers!
Well, that looks amazing. You can watch the season finale of Savor the City today on the TV1 network. Well, stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch.
Introducing a brand new way to start your morning. Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Discover how God is moving around the world and here at home. Plus, get exclusive stories and daily scripture encouragement just for you. Stay informed. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today.
Artificial intelligence is shedding new light on the Dead Sea Scrolls. The scrolls contain some of the earliest known texts of the Bible. Researchers have dated the scrolls between the 3rd century and 1st century AD. Now, a team using AI is putting those dates about 150 years earlier. That would place the book of Daniel in the same time period as its presumed author. The process includes analyzing handwriting from 27 small scraps of parchment and comparing it to other manuscripts from the region. Fascinating. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, let us know what you think about the stories you've seen. Email us at newswatch@cbn.com. Reach out on Facebook, Instagram, or X. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. God bless.